Hi, I'm Grace Ng.
This was me during the pandemic, when self-taping for auditions started becoming a thing.
I am an actress from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And casting calls from the US had opened up for actors around the world. This was my golden opportunity to give my long-forgotten Hollywood dream a shot. Sorry, can we do that again?
My hobbies include dancing, writing.
But after more than dozens of characters created, hundreds of lines memorized, and at least a million different emotions, nothing came from it except a resigned numbness which amplified the painful "what's wrong with me" feeling.
So pick me, choose me, love me.
Some of you at this point might be thinking, okay, Grace, what about your home country, your own Malaysia? What about the acting scene there? Have you tried? The answer is yes. I did manage to have some okay success as a stage and screen actress at home, but in those situations, I either felt creatively limited, like I could not fully express myself, or in the situations that I did, there was hardly any money. Let me explain my predicament. So the language that I grew up speaking, the one that my parents spoke to me at home, is actually English. I know it doesn't look like it because but I'm going to explain more about that later on. But first, back to my predicament. So the language that I use to express myself is English. And there are close to zero English movies or TV shows made in Malaysia. There are a few English theatre productions and I've had some great roles in those, but it pays peanuts. Chinese productions, there are a decent amount of those, but I could hardly speak in Chinese, let alone act. And then there are heaps of Malay productions. This is where the money is, and thankfully my Malay is great. But I was often cast in the token Chinese role, so that also meant peanuts. So after the tears cleared from my international casting call disappointment, it became clear what my next move must be.
Learn Chinese!
And in the same obsessive fashion as I did my self-tapes, I started to learn my mother tongue. It was during this moment that I received news about a very interesting project. This was going to be a landmark film for Malaysia, a crowd-funded project, and it was in Cantonese. I actually grew up with Cantonese movies. I mean, it was the 90s, the golden era of Hong Kong cinema, and so many of these films kind of shaped my identity, although I had to watch them with subtitles. So just the thought alone of being an actor in a Cantonese film kind of seemed like an alternate reality. So I thought to myself, there's no way I'm gonna audition for this film. And so I didn't. Until a few weeks later, I actually got a message from the producer and they were like, we want you to audition for this. And then I'm like, you know what? This is a sign from the universe which I'm going to take. So I messaged back and I said, I can't really speak Cantonese, but I'm going to try anyways, and then we'll let the director decide. So this is my audition tape with my horrible Cantonese. 我喺佢哋嘅 storeroom 揾到嘅。
對，就是這個。
咁，下次我遞多啲啊。我走啦。I sent the tape and I didn't think anything of it. And then I get this message. Hi Grace, I watched your audition and I liked your interpretation of botak. So there are two things I'd like to ask. One, the role requires the actress to shave her hair. Are you okay with that? Two, I can see that Cantonese is not your first language, but do you think there's room for improvement? What do you think? The actor part of me is like, yes, and yes, I got the job and I get to shave my head. Like, yes, I got the job and I get to learn a new language. But the personal side of me was like, no. I was in my feminine era, my soft goddess, empress, feminine self with my long flowy hair. I was starting to like get curves in all the right places for the first time in my life, and I was really hoping that, you know, I would attract my masculine man partner. Like, the last thing I wanted to do was to shave my head and be like this kick-ass badass person, which would be what people would start labeling me as once I shaved my head. Like, yo, you look so badass. And I wanted to look soft and feminine and girlish. But I was not gonna pass this opportunity up. I thought to myself, you know what? This is an opportunity to lean more into my feminine side. How can I be even more feminine with a buzz cut? So I replied back, yes, I'll be happy to do it. And then about the Cantonese, now that's the part that I was very apprehensive about. So this is what I'm going to share with you about me. I am a banana. For those of you not versed with Southeast Asian culture, you'll probably be like, what the hell are you talking about, Grace? Bananas are actually a term given to Chinese people who can't speak Chinese. Hence banana, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. So it can exist as an ethnic slur, like a negative thing. For example, like, you know, you're Chinese, but how can you reject your own culture in favor of Western ideals?
我睇你係唐人，點解你唔識講中文呢？
我們周末請這個 banana 過來看這部戲。
But for those who understand things on a more nuanced level, they would know that it's a lot of the time not because of choice, but because of schooling system, migration, segregation in various countries. I'm not going to go too much into it. So for the most part, I have had positive experiences. But on a very deep level, there was always some kind of limit and a huge imposter syndrome because of one specific incident that happened when I was about 16 years old. So I was returning back from a beach holiday, had my backpack, went to the bus stop to wait for my dad to pick me up, and a taxi driver was there and he was like, 你要 taxi 吗? Like, would you like a taxi? And I replied, 不用紧，我爸爸来载我. Which means my dad will come to vegetable me. I mean, I was supposed to say, 我爸爸来接我, which is to come pick me up. And then, his reaction is something I will never forget. Like, I felt the shame in my cells. He was like, 你爸爸来载你，你什么华人？不会讲华语 huh? What kind of Chinese are you? Do not know how to speak Chinese. And he went on this long rant criticism of me, shaming me, and I shut off. I couldn't process and I didn't understand what he was saying, but I understood the intention behind it, and it was all shaming. So from that moment, even though I wanted to learn Chinese very badly, and it pushed me because of the shame that was put into me, and actually maybe that is why I am like ridiculously hard on myself about learning Chinese and about getting my mother tongue like perfectly correct. I think this says a lot about me. I knew that this was going to be a very uncomfortable challenge. I know that that is where growth happens. And so I embraced it. I said yes. And so the next day I got out my planner and started to get organized, because that is how I usually approach things. I had 10 weeks to transform from westernized PJ banana feminine girly to bald-headed proper Asian baddie. But first, just a quick shout out that I am so close to getting my first 1,000 subs on YouTube, so it would be such a big help if you could hit that subscribe button. And now back to the video. Hello, 大家好，我係 Grace。今日我哋係練習廣東話。我想俾你知道。我下個月會開始拍一個戲，佢嘅名係叫 Pendatang。At first, I started by just trying to speak, translating whatever was in my English brain into Cantonese. 我喺我嘅車揸緊車 Reaching out to old friends for chats.
OK， 冇問題嘅。你有時間你答啦，如果冇時間都 OK 嘅，我
And talking to random strangers.
做咩咁樣用嘅呢？做咩咁樣演呢？做咩咁樣演呢？
因為我好開心。
嚇，book咗車啊？
That prompted me to increase my vocabulary.
星期六，Saturday，星期六晚，Saturday night。
And also get my foundations right, learning the proper tones. Unlike Mandarin, where there are 4 tones, ma, 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 Cantonese has 9 tones. I was struggling to remember until I discovered beef belly noodles. If you order 3 bowls of noodles and 100 plates, you will have the perfect recipe for remembering the 9 tones of Cantonese. Here they are. 3碗細牛腩麵100碟. I've linked the YouTube video for this if you want to learn too. Now it was time to get started with the script itself and also go deeper with my tone. I wanted my character to be someone who grew up speaking Cantonese with her grandmother. It didn't need to be perfect, but it needed to have an authentic flavor. I decided to engage a Cantonese tutor. Siu Tong is an award-winning Cantonese radio drama actor, so I knew I could trust her when it comes to nuances of emotions in the language. And in addition to our weekly classes, we also did daily voice chats, which were both helpful and fun.
我哋一定可以成功嘅。跟住我就會請你食一個好好食嘅餐。我聽到你咁開心，搞到我都好開心。
Okay, today I am with my Cantonese tutor, the beautiful and multi-talented Miss Siu Tong. So I'm going to interview you now about my progress. How do you feel so far? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally fail, 10 being so damn extremely amazing. What level do you think your student Grace is at now?
Is there a reason why you buy me coffee today? Not too bad actually. I think I will rate a 5 when we first met, and I think I can rate you a 6 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah, not bad actually. You're not as bad as you thought you are. I can still understand your Zhaoyam Cantonese, so it's okay.
Okay, so it is the 6th week in the scene that I was the most nervous about, which is the opening scene. She has to speak like a whole bunch of legal jargon where she's introducing the laws of the land. Like under section 1, bracket 6 of Segregation Act, any contact with a race other than one's own is deemed detrimental to the harmony and stability of the federation and is thus strictly prohibited. I mean, even in English, it's hard to say, but in Cantonese, it's just like, wow, it's very crazy.
法案第一支6條文，任何同外族接觸嘅行為被視為。
But this week, I finally feel that I am actually getting the tone of it, and I am hearing how in my audition video that I actually sound terrible. I mean, I don't sound terrible, but like I sound like I'm not a native speaker, because when I first did the audition video and listened back to it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds right. And now when I listen back to it, I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, okay, this is definitely not spoken like this. 6 weeks down, and I had my biggest breakthrough. I had started to develop the ear, which is to me the most crucial step in applying the language to my goals. And then it was time for our first rehearsals. This was what I had been working up to. Just came back from rehearsals, the first like proper big rehearsals. Man, I really suck. Self-doubt is real, folks. Today is just one of those days. See, I can't even speak. I've even lost my ability to like speak English, because right now everything that I thought that I had the ability to do before is probably not even true, because I don't know how to do anything. I was experiencing the dip, that moment in the learning journey where your once energetic spirit takes a sudden nosedive and you start performing worse than ever. You hope that eventually, if you persevere, you will end up flying. That's the theory. Whether it was going to happen was a choice I had to make. My brain is like bursting right now. And it's almost this like letting go that my brain just like wants to do, but I feel like I can't because I don't know, it's some like weird emotional thing. I don't know what's going on. Oh man, this is like a turning point-ish. I'm not sure. Okay, let me tell you that seriously, I'm really tired right now. But I'm also very motivated. And I am firmly believing that I can do this. I talked about this with an actor friend. I realized that I was so obsessed with trying to learn the language and having everything super precise. So not even like learning the language to a point that I can communicate with someone else, but learning the language to a point that so that I won't make a single mistake. And that's super unrealistic because of course I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm learning something. So instead of focusing on that, I am an actor. I'm an actor first, not a professional language learner. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna do what I do best, which is act and be an actor.
The day was quickly approaching for the final part of the transformation, the buzz cut. But before that, I'd asked my photographer friend Daniel to help me do some headshots to preserve what I would like to deem as my best hair yet. And then it was time for the shave. I know this isn't quite a buzz cut yet, but it was a style we were experimenting with for the character. I eventually did trim it off, but what I received at the salon was actually a cut I really enjoyed. It was super edgy yet feminine, but still, I woke up at 4 a.m. that night in tears.
It doesn't matter what anyone else says. I just really want my hair back.
By the morning, I was okay though, and I knew the only thing I wanted to do was shave everything off so I could really become Botak, my character. And then just like that, it was time to go, but I had time at home for one quick karaoke session.
Day 2 complete. I gotta say that I really I'm so freaking grateful and appreciative to everyone on set, the cast, our director, our AD, producer, everything, for being so patient with me with my Cantonese. I mean, the work that I put in with Siu Tong, my Cantonese coach, it's really showing. Rewiring my brain to sound Cantonese and just being exposed to hearing it every single day, not getting a break at all. Definitely my brain is kind of being rewired. It's very nice. It has been a really amazing past 4 days of being on set. I haven't taken as much videos and photos as I would like to because I've been really immersed in this role, number one. Number two, I got pretty sick on the second day. I don't know what happened and it's so frustrating that I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm losing my voice, that's all I know. I'm coughing a lot and I just have this weird feeling in my throat and I feel terrible, let's just put it that way. I think the worst part is my mood feels off. My mood feels really off and I don't feel like speaking to anyone or interacting with anybody. I don't really like this feeling, but I feel maybe, is it necessary for the character that I do this? I don't know.
冷田啲人俾我遮，佢係無辜㗎。行開！你覺得美方會想見到你而家咁咩？你咁做同嗰啲殺死美方人有咩唔同啊？
It has been 2 years since that film was shot. it only feels that now that my transformation is actually complete. You know, my hair has grown back, so I really feel like I have come full circle, and I'm like, you know, the snake that has shed its skin and is like looking back at the old skin that it has shed. The preparation and the shoot itself was an intense process, but the thing is, it did not stop after that. The ball just kept rolling. It was like the universe acknowledged my work, it acknowledged what I was doing, and it just kept giving me more, because a few weeks after that I got an offer to act in a Chinese short film. There was so much dialogue, and it was I had to speak it very precisely. The results were amazing. I almost passed out. That was how tired my brain was. I almost fainted on set, but I still continued pushing through, and it just didn't stop there. I got more and more auditions and calls, and the movie wasn't even out yet, but it was just the confidence I had in myself that I am someone who pushes through discomfort. I am someone who lives with discomfort, and having that attached to my identity was honestly like, it made the world of difference to everything in my life today. After that robot film, I got another offer for a feature film, also full Chinese, and I was the main character, so it was even more pressure. And then just last year I did a film. It was a Malay film actually, but my character had to ad-lib in Cantonese. The AD came up to me and just whispered a few things like, okay, we need you to create this scene, just speak in Cantonese, just say whatever. Grace of 2 years ago I wasn't ready for that situation at all. I would not have succeeded. I would have started breaking down, but I did, on the spot, ad-libbed in Cantonese. And the stories like this just keep on going and going and going. So the sky's the limit right now. Like every single limit I had placed on myself in the past, I know that I can just keep breaking them because I know how to push through discomfort. So yeah, I hope that whatever situation that you're in, that you can either A, relate to this and push through discomfort more, like fist bump to us, or that it will give you some kind of motivation that you can do it too, because I am like the #1 self-doubt chicken person. So if I can do it, anyone can.